was like, is this in the US? And I was trying to feel whether I'm in the US, and I couldn't, because I was just like, whoa, that fire is intense.
California's under a state of emergency. Crews are struggling to fight unpredictable, raging wildfires. Mandatory evacuations are in place with 25 fires burning across the state. The Rocky Fire is the biggest. It now covers 54,000 acres, an area larger than the city of San Francisco.
Last Thursday, the fire perimeter looked like this, but over the weekend, it tripled in size. The fire has now burned 94 square miles. That's almost the same size as California's capital, Sacramento.
I don't know if we've ever had such a situation. Maybe there have been, but it looked really intense. It looked very intense. And most of the time, my precognitions are about historic events or so, but I don't know, it just looked really intense. Maybe because I haven't been near a forest fire before, a wild forest fire, but this was crazy.
There are firefighters that have 20, 25, 30 years on the job that have never seen fire behavior like we've seen the last couple days here on the Rocky Fire.
Jay Smith is with CAL FIRE.
So we do have contingency lines.
He says the explosions in this fire yesterday and in the days before were record-breaking.
The fire did double. It grew 22,000 acres in 5 hours. Our computer modules said that should take 7 days. This fire did it in 5 hours.
What we're seeing in all these fires, especially this Rocky Fire, is explosive growth. Over the weekend, 20,000 acres burned in just about a 5-hour period. That's an unprecedented historical rate of spread for a fire.
We are surrounded by smoke from the Rocky Fire. 2,500 firefighters are now on the ground here, and we've heard from veterans who've been doing this 10, 20, even 30 years who say they have never seen a fire behave like this one.
This fire is really vexing because it isn't behaving the way wildfires typically behave. For instance, at one point over the weekend, the flames just took off pretty late in the day after 5 p.m. and that's a time when fires usually start to quiet down. But this one just roared through 20,000 acres in 5 hours. It usually takes a week for a fire to consume that much land. CAL FIRE officials say that is unprecedented.
Wildfire, forest fire, intense, extremely hot forest fire.
That's the situation here. Pretty hot, I can tell you that. Amazing, and the radiant heat that comes off that fire, even 50, 60, 100 feet away, still pretty intense on your face. Send it back to you guys.
Okay, so I saw a lot of fire. This was a lot of fire. Intense heat fire.
Take a look at some video from last night and you get a sense of just how fierce this fire has been for fire crews in pretty remote rural areas here of Lake County along these hillsides, difficult to get to, and again, not much they can do when the fire activity is so fierce. You can't go right in and start hitting that with water. All you can do is back away, start building containment lines, and hope they hold once the fire gets there.
And I was thinking, oh my goodness, what time of day is this? So I was like, okay, let me check my surroundings. It looked like it was during the day going to evening.
And keep in mind, this fire started just after 4 o'clock yesterday, so in a little over 12 hours this fire has consumed 8,000 acres here of Lake County, just to the east of the town of Lower Lake.
Now I was trying to figure out what type of trees these are. Maybe it could have given me a clue where it is, but that's kind of hard because around the world, you know, most of the trees are the same. But yeah, I saw they look like pine trees, more like Christmas trees. Some of them, most of them look like Christmassy. They look like Christmassy trees. It was kind of hard.
Fire officials said a rapidly spreading brush fire burning in parched timberland north of San Francisco has forced the evacuation of 500 people and destroyed several buildings less than 12 hours after it broke out. The blaze, named the Rocky Fire, is one of a string of wildfires threatening homes and scorching parched wilderness in the U.S.
The heat was really intense. Now, I couldn't feel the heat, but I could see the heat. So I could see, like, you know when it's like really hot and you see like the heat thingy, it's like all, not foggy, but like, yeah, anyway, you understand what I mean. So it was really hot.
It's the largest of roughly 20 fires burning throughout drought-stricken California. The so-called Rocky Fire has consumed 24 homes, threatened hundreds more, and put at least 12,000 people under evacuation warnings.
It's like being in another world. It's the smells, the embers. I mean, it's still burning here.
Doomsday. That's what it looked like, kind of. It looked like a mushroom cloud that came from like a nuclear explosion, kind of.
The fire, about 100 miles north of San Francisco, tripled in size over the weekend to 93 square miles. National Guard helicopters battled the blaze from the air, while nearly 3,000 firefighters fought the flames on the ground.
And it was just like burning everywhere.
But this massive fire remains unpredictable. Last night, enormous flames, apocalyptic-looking landscapes. The Rocky Fire doubling in size since yesterday, scorching 20,000 more acres in just 5 hours.
Oh yeah, another thing is that I did see the full moon. I don't know if it's together with it. So I don't know if this is going to happen around time when it's the full moon. I felt so bad for those animals. Can you just picture that you're just left behind? And I can understand. I think people will evacuate, but they'll evacuate so quickly that they'll just leave everything.
Thousands of homes are in its path, and the area is under a mandatory evacuation.
I couldn't get back if I wanted to, and with the fire danger, I'm not sure I want to.
Richard Hardy is concerned about 2 of his 3 cats. He was forced to leave them behind as the flames drew closer.
They'll just totally like, once they see fire or see smoke far away, they'll be like, we have to go.
As once again the Rocky Fire exploded into a giant and menacing plume of smoke, leaving residents who were ready to evacuate both in fear and in awe.
It straight out of a movie or something. Right here, I mean, the flames are licking up over the hills. We got billowing smoke up in the horizon.
Since the Rocky Fire started on Wednesday, it is a fire that has continued to grow every day.
The fire has already destroyed several homes and forced hundreds of residents to flee.
And I've never seen flames so tall, 200, 300-foot flames.
So yeah, I felt really bad for like the hens, the roosters, and any animals that will be left behind. But yeah.
Rivas kept chickens and said she saw only one walking through the rubble. 43 homes were destroyed and 13,000 people were ordered or warned to evacuate.
But yeah, those people from that particular house that I saw evacuated and left their farm animals. My goodness, the poor animals. I really hope that the fire is contained by the time it gets them. Gosh, I felt like just grabbing them and leaving. But anyway.
More than 12,000 people have been evacuated. 24 homes destroyed.
Of course, the animals as well. We just had this herd of elk visit us here. We're several miles from where the fire is burning this morning, and you can see these elk wandering the foothills. And so, of course, you have to think about all the wildlife out here as well, being displaced now by this monster fire.
I mean, this fire is so intense and will do so much damage when it comes to trees, burning down trees.
The fire, now burning for a week in dry trees and grass, has been unpredictable.
I've never seen a fire move like this. At a vantage point like this, when you look out, you can see the devastation, and it's shocking.
We are on the northern edge of the field, and the devastation here is absolutely remarkable, but we're going to show you a little bit of drama that happened. Andrew, can I have you go to the upper left corner of the screen there? This is a spot where there must have been some real intense drama going here. You can see the airplanes were bombing this specific house with their retardant. They've actually painted that house red, but they saved it, and that's the wonderful news. But what does 70,000 acres look like, or what does this entire area look like? We're on the northern edge of it. So I'm going to have Andrew zoom out again, and we're going to tilt up. Everything you see in the screen, that's black. Everything that's black is this area, and that's as wide. We're going to go as wide as our super wide lens goes. There's a remarkable lens in LiveCopter 3 here, but it's just unreal how black everything is in this area, almost from the tip of Berryessa and up to Clear Lake. And it's amazing how close that it came to there. We've been seeing lots and lots of burned out structures here today. This was a very intense operation.
The Rocky Fire can be seen all the way from space. Check it out. This photo from NASA shows a plume of smoke in the Clear Lake area. You can tell it's not the same as a normal cloud. It's not quite as dense and looks gray instead of white.